We bought cars that we wish we could have bought when we were teenagers.
Our goal was to buy 90s hot hatches for under £5,000, but that proved to be a challenge.
So I bought this Corsa GSI replica with a home-built Saab turbo engine fitted.
And I bought this unassuming little Toyota Starlet with a turbo swap that makes 3 times the original power.
We have spent countless days fixing them, modifying them, and fixing them again. And today we're taking them on track, and then we will go for one final drive, which really doesn't end well.
Oh no! Before that though, we'll need one last round of fixing.
After multiple fixes in the last episode, we put the Corsa on the dyno and expected it to make almost 300 horsepower. It was, however, running just 220 horsepower. So Paul from the Saab clinic offered to come and help on his day off, and it didn't take long for him to make a discovery.
So, Paul, we've found a fairly major clue as to why we're not making the boost.
The ECU picks up a speed from the gearbox. It uses that relatively to work out what table to use for the boost by gear. Said sensor is not there, which is why the boost by gear is not working and why it was only on base boost.
Possibly something I could have checked before, but these things happen on cars like this.
Anyway, we'll work around it.
With the Corsa's boost issues potentially diagnosed, I moved on to trying to find out what was wrong with Edwin's Starlet, as the gearbox mount we fitted a few episodes ago hadn't done a lot to fix his issue.
Carl, you're currently helping do an engine mount, and you found something quite interesting.
The front engine mount actually seems reasonably good, if a little soft, but they'd pre-loaded it with some bits of rubber. When I pulled it out, it's tyres. I wish I could do some archaeology and find out what brand.
Someone's going to go, that is a Kumho.
What's even more exciting is that this mount actually looks okay.
Okay, sorry, Edwin.
I'm really sorry, Edwin.
So, with no immediate solution to the Starlet's issue, we replaced a mystery missing turbo support bolt on the Corsa, and then replaced a faulty boost solenoid, which meant the Corsa could finally hit maximum boost. And then it was time to get both cars out for a drive somewhere very special. Here we are, driving these cars for the first time together again on a track. We're here at Thruxton Circuit to really see how well these cars drive. I cannot wait. I haven't driven this car properly since it's had its fixed boost, so I cannot wait to see what this is going to be like.
Here we are, the finished product, the Starlet, all said and done, and I say finished because it's never going to be finished. But that's the beauty of a car like this. It's always a project to do something to and improve again and again and again. This car was so close to being too far gone. A little bit of time and love and a good amount of money, it has to be said, have turned this into a proper cool little sleeper. In here I've got my new dials. All of my dials now down here now work. My fuel isn't leaking out of the back, which is always a positive, and it's just working. There are still quite a lot of vibrations in this car, but again, this is a 90s hot hatch with a massive engine shoved under the bonnet. It's always going to be a little bit of a project. It's never ever going to be perfect, but that's the point. You can tinker, you can tweak, you can change little things here and there. At the end of the last episode, I asked you guys which flutter pipe I should put on. And come on, there was only ever going to be one, wasn't it? It's number 2. It's always going to be number 2. It gives you the biggest, happiest grid. Anyone. I can see Jay, who's doing the tracking in front of me. Every time I do it, everyone smiles. Now, before we go any further, this is a quick reminder that if you are buying a used car, you should always run a car vertical check. That's right, because every single day, hundreds of cars get crashed, but some of them get put back on the road in an attempt to hide their dodgy past. With a car vertical check, you can find out that shady history. Now, all you need is a reg number or a VIN, and the car vertical report will tell you if that car has been crashed, stolen, or clocked. Now, take for instance Will's Corsa. Before we went to buy it, we did run a car vertical check, and thankfully for us, the odometer, finance, and damage were all green ticks. It does have a yellow tick for ownership, which indicates that it has a higher amount of owners than usual, but 6 for a Corsa made in the 90s, that'll be okay. Now, this much slower McLaren hasn't been so lucky because we have got 2 yellow markers, and if we scroll down to the photos, this car has been in a pretty hefty fire, and the result of that is that this car has been written off as a Cat B. Now, what that means is that this car legally cannot go back on the road. However, some dodgy people may try and take the VIN number from this car and put it on a stolen car in another country to try and hide all of this crash history. However, with a car vertical report and the car's VIN, you can find out this shady past. So the next time that you're buying a car, van, or motorcycle, make sure that you run a car vertical check to make sure that the price you pay for it matches its history.
And as an added bonus, Car Vertical are offering you guys 20% off when you use our code TDC.
It is simply the best noise in the world, and no one can ever tell me otherwise.
I'm really quite jealous of the noise that yours makes, because this is good, but that is better. This is your first actual proper drive, really, since that car's been done. Is it much better than it was before?
It is so much better than before. When I first drove this car with its horrible wheel bearing, it was all over the place. With its cheap tyres, it couldn't grab any grip, and it might as well have had 40 horsepower. It just wouldn't go anywhere. But now, it actually grips up, it actually feels good through the corners, and more importantly, it's quick while making the most stupid flutter noises of all time.
The Corsa, I will admit, is still a little bit rough around the edges, but in the best possible way. And now it is much, much faster.
A McDonald's car park hates to see that car coming.
God, the savers menu is not safe.
From where they've come from, that car had no MOT, it'd been sat up for a year, sitting in someone's drive unloved, and now it's rolling around at nearly 300 horsepower. That's quite cool.
It's very cool and very, very scary on this greasy day, but I really, really do love this thing. I'm going to be very, very sad to see it go. But what I also quite like is just a man in his Starlet, and then all of a sudden this ridiculous noise comes out the front.
It's still a Starlet at heart. There are still vapes down in the corner of this door card. They have to stay. That's what a true Starlet owner does.
Now, it's been nice cruising around the track, but I think we need to give it some more beats. So I think we do a proper lap now.
So it was time for our track challenge. We'll be doing a sprint race, starting on Thruxton's usual start-finish straight. From there, we'll race up to a cone positioned about a third of the way around the track. Each car will then need to execute a precise handbrake turn around the cone before speeding back towards the start-finish line. The fastest time wins.
First up was Edwin, but it was looking like he might have a little bit of an issue with the handbrake turn.
It doesn't work so good. So we're going to have to rely on some pretty heavy Scandinavian flicks to make this lap. With something like 70 or 80 horsepower down on him, there's going to have to be one big old Hail Mary to make this work. Unfortunately for me, it didn't seem like the Starlet was feeling particularly confident either. That was fine. That wasn't an issue.
After cutting out twice, it became obvious that there was a problem. The Starlet simply wouldn't maintain its idle.
Lewis Hamilton does this before races, right? After a brief visual inspection, I determined that there was nothing wrong, so I decided to just go for it and hope for the best. Yeah, you'll be fine. Watch this.
Are you ready?
I'm as ready as this Starlet has ever been.
3, 2, 1, and go! It does sound very good.
It's the most ridiculous car!
I do think there should be some points off for the, stalling on the line, but whatever.
It's so ridiculous! Oh, the new brakes are great. Into second, let's get a bit of curb action going. Lovely. Big Scandinavian flick, come on, here we go. Yes! 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 Yes, Starlet! You glorious, horrible car!
I think I've just heard the turnaround. I know his handbrake wasn't working particularly well, so we'll see how that went.
Go on, Starlet!
That sounds ridiculous. But this is a competition, remember, by the way. So hopefully something bad happens to him.
It's quick! It is so quick!
I can just see him. Wheel spin, wheel spin, wheel spin, wheel spin.
Come on, Starlet!
I don't know if that's fast or not, because we're not doing a full lap, we're doing a little sprint course almost, so we'll see.
More importantly than the time, more importantly than the stupid noises it makes, beating the shit out of it has fixed the idle. Only a Toyota Starlet could be fixed by beating the ever-loving shit out of it. I just hit the biggest Scandinavian flick of my life. I'm part Swedish now.
With Edwin's time on the board, it was my turn. Feeling good in the helmet. This is a sketchy car, but a cool car. Need to do it proud.
Will's very competitive. You're about to see a Corsa go very, very fast. 3, 2, 1, go.
Lots of wheel spin, still wheel spinning.
Very fast track.
It would be silly to expect Will to not hit the most ridiculous handbrake turn here. It will happen.
Going into the first proper corner on the brakes. Bit of curb.
He's going to be taking this so seriously.
And then a little handbrake. No! No! I did skip the cone. Edwin's not going to like that, but I don't care. Speak to the FIA, mate.
Here he goes, come back. You can hear the flutter.
Ooh, I don't know. I missed the gear on one of those corners and that might have cost me. Oh no!
I could see from here the biggest handbrake turn of all time.
I didn't quite get round the cone.
Oh, that's interesting.
You may have to speak to the FIA.
Okay.
After an absolute blast finally getting some proper hot hatching in, the moment had arrived to find out who'd come out on top.
Right, producer Ben is going to give us our times. We've seen each other's time. I actually can't remember your time now. You're going to read them out and then tell us which is which.
1:13:55.
1:13:55.
The other time is 1:13:22.
Oh, so hold on. By tenths. I thought this was going to be by seconds.
I knew I shouldn't have had breakfast.
The winner is Will.
All I
so
needed
close.
was more power.
By 70 horsepower.
I'm impressed by this car. Possibly 70 horsepower down,
Yeah.
50, 60, whatever, and it's still within a few tenths of it.
This car has chops as a track car, but also I'm impressed with both of them. We're beating around a track and went, go on then, give me more. Right, shall we leave Thruxton?
I think we hit the road.
But before that, a massive thank you to Thruxton for letting us loose on their incredible track. It's the fastest in the UK and it is genuinely an absolute blast. If you're looking for a bit of fun, you can book one of their supercar experiences or bring your own car down. They've got everything from a skid pad and go-kart track to an off-road course, but the real highlight is the track day experience on the same legendary circuit we took our hot hatches around. Make sure you click the link in the description and see if there's anything that you'd like to do at Thruxton.
Happy with our hot hatches performance on track, we hit the road. But I had prepared a little forfeit for Edwin for losing the sprint race.
The chav outfit. Really, if I'm honest, in this car, it doesn't actually feel like a punishment. It just feels like I'm completing the look. I think I'm going to take this outfit and this punishment in my stride, because surely starlets have had the most Burberry per capita worn inside of any car.
I don't know, I think a fast Vauxhall might compete with that, but you do look at home in there, I have to say.
It feels great. You know, I've got so much space in my pockets for illegal substances. Where are we off to next, Will?
I figured, really, we should go to Southend, and in particular, the Southend seafront. It's where they need to go on their last drive with us.
I fully agree. Southend cruises, they're a little bit before our time. We didn't get to experience them. So seeing as we've got a slice of 90s car culture, we have to round it out there.
We pressed on towards the icon of 90s modified car scene, but as we got further down the motorway, I began to feel a bit bruised by my defeat at Thruxton. I couldn't shake the urge to try and redeem myself.
We are coming out of one of England's greatest achievements, 50 mile an hour average speed check. We're going into a 70 mile an hour zone. Shall we perhaps have a legal race?
I think that sounds good. Right up to the speed limit, if possible.
In 3, 2, 1, go. No, he's got me! Oh, he's so much quicker.
Ooh. Did I jump? I don't think so. I am just calling that great reaction times.
I don't think it really would have mattered much. I think that Corsa is so ridiculously quick. This is not a slow car. That's just incredibly fast.
It is really very fast, and it still torque steers even on the motorway, which is just nice.
You started on my right in that race. How'd you get over there?
Unfortunately, after yet another defeat, the starlet started acting up.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Why is your car idling at 9,000 RPM?
My car is idling quite high.
Oh,
That's as low as I can make it.
how many revolutions are we at right now?
2,500.
2,500. That's about sort of like Formula One car level, I think.
I'm going to try turning it off. I bet you that fixes it. That's 1,500. It is a self-fixing car. We'll call it fixed.
With another easy fix for my starlet in the books, we got back on the motorway, because coming up was something every car person would be excited for.
Will, there's a tunnel. That is simply the best noise in the world.
It's crazy that they build tunnels just for us to do that in. Like, it's quite kind of the government to go, you know what? These boys need somewhere to hear their turbo flutter and exhaust.
Never mind the people travelling over the top. That's just a little side quest.
We've mentioned a few times in this video that this is our final drive in these cars, and that's because we want you to win them.
That's right, 2 winning tickets will be drawn this Sunday, February the 16th, which means one of you could win both of these cars.
We just want to say that we genuinely cannot thank you guys enough for entering in the competitions before. We really do not mind if you buy 1 ticket, 1,000, or none at all. We just appreciate you watching the videos.
We've poured a ton of time, money, and passion into both of these cars, and it has all been possible because of you.
So hit the link in the description if you want to enter. Tickets are less than 20 pence.
We've genuinely really enjoyed both of these cars, but we cannot wait for 1 or 2 of you to enjoy them. At this point, Hot Hatch life was good, but just 40 minutes from our destination, it all went horribly wrong.
Oh no.
There has been what I think is an explosion.
The technical term is an explosion.
Oh no!
And it didn't take long to uncover what would soon turn into a massive problem.
That is your heater matrix hose.
Not like this!
That's a real split. Right, the plan is we're going to quickly top out with a load of water. There is a pub. We're going to put it in the car park and we're going to go and find some parts. Who would have guessed that it would have been the Corsa, not the Starlet? Oh well. In the pub car park, we took a closer look at the issue, and the news was far from good. The pipe that comes out of the car is yay big, but the pipe that's on the Saab engine is yay big.
Bigger.
Someone's stretched the pipe over the edge. So we need to get the original pipe off.
But to make matters even worse, we realised we didn't even have a set of pliers to remove the broken coolant pipe.
Should we go and see if we can steal one from a local place of work? We set off in search of a local garage, hoping that they'd be kind enough to lend us a set of pliers.
Now, I've just left a £40 deposit at a garage down the road, but I do have some pliers.
There's going to be someone in the comments, even though this is a dire situation, going, there's a tool for that.
Did you know they make a specific Saab swapped Jubilee clip remover? Oh, you're on him. There you go. You got him. If you're wondering, shouldn't be able to do that.
The guy who I borrowed the pliers from asked if we could shorten this pipe, so if we could cut it here and reattach it, but it's right on that bend. Look how wide that is. You know, it's like a snake with a goat in its neck or something.
After returning the pliers to the local garage, we found ourselves at a bit of a loose end, unable to find anywhere nearby that stocked the type of pipe we needed. But then, things took an unexpected turn.
We're here on an industrial estate with a new man called Matt. Now, we were just leaving the place where I rented the pliers from, and Matt saw us and said, "What are you doing here?" And we said, "Have you got any coolant hoses?"
Yeah.
And he's brought us here where you've got many things.
I got a collection of random MX-5s that just have bits and bits.
We've gone through Matt's actual cars and gone, we're taking this hose, we'll take this hose. None of them have worked. And then he said, there's a welder. A very nice chap called Michael, N&M Welding. We walked in off the street and went, so can you weld a pipe producer for us? And he went, all right.
So he's doing that right now. It's fortuitous. I don't know how this has happened, but I mean, I just want to get it back on the road. While Michael was busy fabricating a fix for the Corsa, we had some time to kill. So Matt gave us a tour of his car collection, which included a Honda Prelude with an interesting feature.
It's just silly. That's kind of what it feels like in the Corsa, to be fair, but still.
This is proof that you should break down more often.
Yeah.
Break down, just speak to people.
Make car friends.
So, hour or so later, and we have a fix. So you've been working away on this, trying to get these pipes to fix. And look at that. Considering we broke down at the side of the road and not knowing where we are, that is not bad at all.
Having Matt as my neighbour, I'm doing lots of different bits and pieces for him, so there's nothing impossible we can't do.
I'm over the moon with this. Like, genuinely, we didn't think we'd get anything. We were looking through Matt's stuff, hardware shops nearby, and we didn't think we'd find anything. And that is a proper custom bit of engineering. Absolutely over the moon.
Glad
Thank
I
you very
could
much.
help.
Cheers.
With the freshly made pipe in hand, we headed back to the Corsa to fit it. But once again, there was an issue.
We just tried to fit it with the Jubilee clip that was on our new pipe. It's not in the best condition, so it has just completely snapped. It's all rusty here, not the best. So, new Jubilee.
Also, no one's questioned the outfit. Not a single person has asked why. They've just gone, eh. Luckily, Matt had a spare Jubilee clip lying around, but even then, the coolant was still leaking, leaving us with no choice but to limp the Corsa back down the road to Michael, hoping that he could help us once again.
This isn't scripted. This isn't planned. We couldn't script this.
Go and look at N&M Welding and Michael, because he literally dropped everything. He said he got a call from his wife shouting down the phone why he isn't home yet, because he's helping us. That's one of the boys.
The Jubilee clips that we'd managed to scrape together simply didn't fit. We needed more, but with it getting late and the shop starting to close, the Corsa's chances of making it to Southend were dwindling by the minute.
We're now coming up for 6 to 7 hours into everyone's free help. Everyone at the beginning is always like, cool, we're going to sort it, we're going to make it work. And then things go wrong, and they go wrong again, and they go wrong again. And it's right about now where patience starts to break down. There's no more talking, there's no more joking around. It's just, please let this thing work. It's not fun anymore, it's now just a job to do. I'm hoping for Will's sake, and Michael's sake really, who's been so nice to us, to just get it done.
Just messaging my family because I've got 8% battery and I don't know if I'll ever make it home.
With Michael needing to go home and more Jubilee clips the only thing able to bodge the Corsa into working, I jumped in the Starlet and headed for the shops as quick as I could before they closed. This is no longer Corsa versus Starlet thing. This is a get the Corsa to Southend. We're so close. We're on our way to Screwfix to see if we can just get any amount of Jubilees. I'm going to buy so many Jubilees. After grabbing anything that might work, we might have one in there. We'll hope. Let's go. I raced back to the workshop as quickly as possible for our final chance to fix the Corsa and make it to Southend.
Edwin and Jay have just been to get many Jubilee clips because we needed something the right size. We have now tripled up and then doubled up on the other side. And now, if there's a leak, more Jubilees. With way more Jubilee clips than usually needed holding the new pipe on, we started the car up and then played a very painful waiting game to see if the new pipe had finally sealed properly. I will cry. I will 100% cry. Oh, please don't leak. Come on, just don't leak. Please don't leak. We waited and waited for the car to come up to temperature, and somehow it looked like our hours of bodging might finally get the Corsa to Southend. No leak? I can't believe it. I don't think it's leaking. I can't see anything dripping. We thanked Michael for everything, and nearly 9 hours after we'd first stopped, we were back on the road heading towards our destination.
It's just trademark cars. Something blows up, and somehow, some way, just down the road, there is a very nice guy who has a collection of cool cars and knows someone that can get you out of a pinch. Massive shout out to Michael and to Matt for helping us. Matt's coming with us now to Southend. He said, you know what, it's destroyed my evening anyway, I might as well get my Skyline out and I'll meet you boys in Southend. So we've got a train going. However, I think Will is now going to be quite scared.
I'm keeping it below sort of 3,000 RPM, trying to be nice and gentle with it. I just want it to get there.
You're confident he's going to make it?
He's making me nervous, but temperatures look good. We've got nothing coming out the bonnet. I think we're good. I'm going to be gentle with it.
Onward to Southend then. Let's end this. Our breakdown had stopped us from going on one final blast in our hot hatches, but we really didn't care, because that's what these cars are about. They're not perfect, they'll always need work, but when they do work, they will put the most ridiculous smile on your face. Coming into this series, the Starlet was the clear underdog. It didn't have the power or the looks of the Corsa. It was just a scabby old Toyota that had been passed around and abused to within an inch of its life. And despite the Corsa being problematic at every turn, it's still the car on this channel that we think we'd all take home if we could. Will and I have been lucky enough to own and drive some very cool cars, but these cars here, two anti-social hatchbacks that you can hear coming miles away, this is where we really belong.
These are the best cars we've bought.
That's the best car in the world!
We finally made it to Southend. It took a while. We did leave approximately 10 hours or so ago. But we have an ice cream and the cars are parked just there. I cannot believe it.
Where thousands and thousands of 90s and early 2000s hot hatches have run up and down this street, here are ours. I'm happy with these cars.
I'm more than happy with that.
Our chapter with them is ending now. If you want to win either of those cars, hit the link, buy one ticket, buy a billion. We don't care. As long as someone gets it and someone continues abusing the shit out of these cars.
Brings them back here.
Brings them back here. You're all right in our book.
If you want to watch the first video in this series, you can watch that here, and we will see you next week.